Please be seated, ladies. Your Excellency the President, Excellencies, invited distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening again and welcome to the official award ceremony of the UNESCO World Press Freedom Prize 2018. We're here in the other ballroom of Kempinski Hotel Gold Coast City right here in Accra, Ghana. I'd like to invite to do the opening choreography tonight, the National Dance Company of Ghana, with the opening choreography to welcome everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, the Guillermo Cano Prize would go to an African journalist. We'll find out who he is, what his story is, and why
he's the proud recipient of this award. The Guillermo Cano was a Colombian journalist assassinated in 1986. The UNESCO Guillermo Cano Prize was established in 1997. It seeks to honor a person or organization or institution that has made an outstanding contribution to the defense and or promotion of press freedom anywhere in the world, and especially when this has been achieved in the face of danger. The prize is currently funded thanks to 3 organizations: the Guillermo Cano Isaza Foundation, the Namibia Media Trust, and the Helsingin Sanomat Foundation. The video we are about to watch is a tribute to journalists who have made huge sacrifices to defend press freedom. It presents previous laureates of the prize who were bold enough to speak truth to power. Ladies and gentlemen, we announce the video. Shall we enjoy it now?
Мне лично надоело. Слезно-то с экрана.
Прошлый год мы жили под угрозами. У меня страха нет.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the hustle, the pressures that journalists go through to bring the stories. Some of these shown here tonight. Our next, in fact, our very first speaker is a journalist herself and a business promoter as well. She ventured into diplomacy about 14 years ago. She's been an ambassador in Latin America, Europe, and Africa. But journalism runs through her veins. She worked with two highly patronized national newspapers in Colombia, conducted interviews and did research on various topics of human interest, cultural, commercial, and national interest. A television journalist for a time when she lived in New York. Today, she's here to represent the Guillermo Cano Foundation on this occasion, but then also she doubles as the ambassador of Colombia to the Republic of Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Claudia Quintero, our very first speaker.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, Honorable Minister of Communications, Honorable Minister of Information, representatives from Parliament, colleagues and members of the diplomatic corps. Mrs. Maria Ressa, Chair of the International UNESCO Guillermo Cano World Press Freedom Prize. Gwen Lister, Executive Secretary of the Namibian Media Trust. I skip, but I want to, of course, greet Deputy Director General of UNESCO, Ingida Kettershear. Members of the international press, friends all. It is a great honor that I am here today representing my country as the ambassador of Colombia to the government of Ghana. At one of the most important events for international journalism, the World Press Freedom Day. This is an occasion full of significance, considering the award being conferred today is named after Guillermo Cano, the illustrious Colombian journalist and editor of the Colombian newspaper El Espectador, who in 1989 was assassinated as a result of his values and decision to use his platform to denounce and combat the corruption and violence being perpetrated by drug trafficker Pablo Escobar. The award bears his name not only to pay a well-deserved tribute to a man who was not willing to negotiate his values of truth and freedom, but to honor the work of journalists around the world who put their personal integrity at risk while exercising their profession with these same values and with the conviction that truth, free expression, and knowledge can contribute to change the world and make it a more justice one. Precisely 10 years after his assassination, the Foundation Guillermo Cano and Colombia established at the United Nations May the 3rd, as the World Press Freedom Day, which is supported by the international community. Journalism is a profession that is dear to my heart. I want to share with you today why. I can explain it in few words. I come from a family of public servants with a journalistic vocation. I myself am a journalist and have practiced this profession at the newspaper El Tiempo. My father, a statesman who practiced also journalism in his youth, held the same values of truth and freedom. He was president of the Republic of Colombia for a 4-year term from 1978 to 1982. Today, I would also like to pay tribute to my sister, Diana Turbay Quintero, whom I remembered fondly. She was also a journalist, founder and director of a magazine called Hoy por Hoy, and was kidnapped by Pablo Escobar and murdered in captivity on January 25, 1991, while in the exercise of her profession. She was there to carry out peace-building activities through an interview to the leader of ELN, National Liberation Army of Colombia, guerrilla, one of the most long-lasting illegal groups in Colombia, and she wanted to invite him to join Colombian civilian life. However, this was part of a scheme perpetrated by narco-terrorist Pablo Escobar and his son. Today, Maria Carolina Hoyos Turbay, her daughter, is here with us. Having been invited to participate in this event, she is also a journalist. She was, during 7 years, the Deputy Minister and former Acting Minister of Information, Communications, Technology of Colombia of this current administration, headed by President Juan Manuel Santos, who also happens to come from a renowned family of journalists. I now wish to express to all of you attending this event on behalf of the Colombian government of Colombia, on behalf of Ana Maria Busquet de Cano, President of the Cano Foundation and widow of Guillermo Cano, and all the journalists of Colombia, our deep sorrow and indignation at the unfortunate news of the kidnapping and assassination of the members of a team of journalists of the Ecuadorian newspapers El Comercio. The journalists were Javier Ortega, Paul Rivas, and the driver, also an Ecuadorian citizen, Efraín Segarra, who in the exercise of their profession were on the border between Colombia and Ecuador, and a dissident group of the former FACT guerrilla, led by the alias the Gaucho, was at the forefront of this new act of violence against journalists. The current Colombian Constitution, in Article 20, decrees freedom of the press as a constitutional mandate. It is supported and promoted as an unwavering right to exercise journalism. Colombia is known worldwide as a democracy with respect for the rule of law and a strong vocation for peace, as well as for our commitment towards international integration process, which is the reason why we are here in Ghana. Allow me to express to this distinguished audience and to you, Your Excellency, President Akufo-Addo, my admiration for you and to you as a leader of this great nation, and my appreciation for your hospitality. I wish to assure you that it is the decision of my country and my government to strengthen our human, cultural, political, and economic ties. We are further united by our shared ancestry. Colombia is a multi-ethnic country, and it counts with the third largest population of African descent in the Americas. That makes us brothers and sisters. We know that we, Ghana and Colombia, share values, and the one that I want to highlight today is precisely the recognition of our countries with the protection of press freedom. We are delighted as Colombians that UNESCO recognizes this to the extent to select Ghana as the host country for this event on the African continent. For you, my recognition. The UNESCO World Press Freedom Prize seeks to strengthen, recognize, and promote the right to freedom of the press, research and establishment of the truth through the professional practice of journalism, guaranteeing the safety of journalists who become whistleblowers of the flaws of unscrupulous systems, the lack of ethical values, social and political rights, constantly putting their life at risk. The Kano Foundation was a fundamental pillar on the achievement of Resolution 29 of the United Nations condemnations of violence against journalists, approved by the General Assembly, which calls upon members to adopt the principle that there should be no statute of limitations for crime against persons when these are perpetrated to prevent the exercise of freedom of expression, to improve and promote legislation in this area, to ensure that defamation become a civil offense, not a criminal one. I wish to reiterate on behalf of the Colombian Foundation, Guillermo Cano, in their own words, that their commitment is to continue promoting, consolidating, and projecting, as from its first delivery, the pride so international valued with the leadership of UNESCO and its directorate has helped to keep the beacon of freedom of expression and the value of journalism for societies in the world burning. Finally, I wish to express my solidarity in this event, applauding this year's winner, photographer and journalist Mahmoud Abu Said, known as Shokan, who was selected by international jury independent of media professionals as the laureate of UNESCO Guillermo Cano 2018 Press Freedom Award. To all of you present, both Ghanaian and international journalists, I congratulate you on your commitment to true freedom of expression and bravery. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador Quintero. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador Claudia Quintero, who is representing the Guillermo Cano Foundation here tonight. She's also the ambassador of Colombia to Ghana. Just to remind all of us that this event is being beamed live on the state broadcaster in Ghana, that is Ghana Television, and also on DSTV channel 278. It's also beaming live on Facebook. Ministry of Information Ghana is right there, and then also the Facebook page of the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Your Excellency, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker has a very long history of defending press freedom in Africa and the world over. Interestingly, our next speaker was a co-chair of the conference that gave birth to World Press Freedom Day back in 1991, with the very first event held 25 years ago, 2 years after the birth of World Press Freedom Day. It's commonly referred to as the Windhoek Declaration of 1991, then in Namibia. Tonight, we're happy she's here, and we're happy to introduce the executive chairperson of the Namibian Media Trust. Please welcome Gwen Lister.
Thank you very much. His Excellency, the President of Ghana, Deputy Director General of UNESCO, all other ministers, dignitaries, VIPs, and most particularly, lovers of press freedom. Tonight is about journalists, real reporters, photographers, and bloggers, and the price so many pay for speaking truth to power. When we started the Namibian in 1985, at the height of apartheid repression, we resolved to tell the truth against all odds. We survived arrests, bannings, firebombings, and death threats, and our journalism, we believe, helped to liberate our country and to usher in a democratic dispensation where the news media continues to make a unique contribution today. However, today, the renewed global onslaught on journalism and those who practice it is absolutely terrifying. It shows a world where those intolerant of the values of freedom of speech and expression are becoming stronger, not only in authoritarian dispensations, but perhaps most worryingly in countries regarded as bastions of democracy. And this is why the Namibia Media Trust has become a supporter of the Guillermo Kano UNESCO World Press Freedom Prize. Our concern is for a world where increasingly truth-telling is in danger and its messengers are killed, jailed, harassed, and/or accused of falsification. The promotion of free and independent media, as articulated in the 1991 Windhoek Declaration, which gave birth to World Press Freedom Day, is more imperative than ever before, both on and offline. I would like to suggest tonight that, alongside the vitally important indices on press freedom the world over, that we also consider an additional indicator, one which could help showcase to the world the difference that good journalism can and does make by documenting unpopular realities and by helping to guide us through the information quicksand. Highlighting this service, which today's prize winner, Shorkan, was performing up until his arrest, will help to ensure that the legacy of public service journalism will silence the critics by continuing to grow in both stature and integrity. We at the NMT would welcome the opportunity to collaborate with other like-minded organizations to make this a reality. Also, we at the Namibia Media Trust encourage other independent media institutions to become sponsors of this journalism prize. It is one that is uniquely awarded in the name of the international community, and it provides an opportunity to celebrate the best of journalism, to honor its heroes, and to rededicate ourselves to the excellence of the craft. On this auspicious occasion, I think it is appropriate that all of us pay tribute to Shorkan and all other men and women who work tirelessly through journalism to make the world a better place. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Gwen. Your Excellency, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker will join us by video message. Our next speaker, Maria Risa, is the chair of Rappler, a news website in the Philippines. Rappler was ordered to close down in January this year due to critical reporting. This was understood by many in the Philippines and the international community as an attack on press freedom, and also as an attempt to shut down critical voices in the Philippines. She is the chair of an independent jury composed of 6 well-known media professionals across the globe, 2 of whom are with us here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the video message from Maria Risa now.
Hello from Manila. This year was a tough time to judge the awards because we've seen a rollback of press freedom in many countries around the world. The pressfreedom.org just said that in 30 of 65 countries, press freedom was rolled back by cheap armies on social media. That's certainly what we're seeing here in the Philippines. As president of this year's jury, I want to tell you that it was unanimous amongst us to give this award to Mohammed Abu Zaid Shokan, because we think this will make a difference to his family, to let them know that the eyes of the world continue to focus on their son, on Shokan, and to Shokan himself, that we haven't forgotten, that the world sees what he is doing. He turned 30 in prison last year. He's been in prison for nearly 5 years. And just this March, prosecutors have asked to give a death penalty. It's something that we hope the Egyptian government will reconsider. At the same time, just by announcing this, the Egyptian government has criticized this award for someone they claim is a terrorist. In our minds, Shokan was doing his job, and asked that Egypt release him, as they have other journalists who were arrested with him. So this award, we hope, will help inspire courage to a photojournalist who has done nothing but his job. The second is, we also hope that Shokan's work and his courage acts as an inspiration to the rest of us around the world. Wherever you are as a journalist, it's the time to hold the line. We need to continue doing our jobs. We need to continue holding the line. To UNESCO, thank you for giving us this privilege of looking at a global landscape and giving this prestigious award, to making a choice. To my fellow jury members, thank you so much for your thoughts and for coming together. To the rest of us journalists around the world, we've got our work cut out ahead of us. There is no more difficult time to be a journalist, but as you can see with the campus journalists behind me, there is no better time to uphold our mission and our role in society than now. I'm Maria Ressa. Thank you for giving me this privilege.
Well, I was hoping she would listen, so we could also say, well, Maria, thank you for talking to us. Some have asked, who is Shokan? What is all this noise about Shokan? Why are we making Shokan more important than he should be? Here's a very little story, very brief. His real name, it says here, is Mahmoud Abu Zaid. Goes by the moniker Shokan. Shokan is an Egyptian photojournalist who was arrested on the 14th of August 2013 when he was covering violent clashes between security forces and supporters of the ousted Egyptian President Morsi. He left hundreds dead. Shokan has been in prison ever since, and he's actually facing the death penalty for doing his job. Shokan's detention is regarded as arbitrary by the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention. And so that's just a little bit about Shokan. When Maria was speaking, she said a very big thank you to UNESCO. Some have wondered, what is UNESCO's business in journalism? It's interesting. We'll find out very shortly, as we are joined by the Deputy Director General of UNESCO, Njida Getachao, who after speaking would also do the presentation symbolically to Shokan, who cannot be here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, our Deputy Director General of UNESCO, Njida Getachao, joins us right now. Almost.
Your Excellency, Mr. Nana Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, Ms. Gwen Lister, Executive Chairperson of the Namibia Media Trust and co-chair of the conference that gave birth to the World Press Freedom Day in 1991, Mrs. Claudia Turbe Cuentro, Ambassador of Colombia to the Republic of Ghana, representing the Guillermo Cano Foundation today, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. First of all, I wish to thank His Excellency Honorable Nana Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, for spearheading this global celebration of press freedom. UNESCO has long worked with the government and the people of Ghana to support the development of vibrant and pluralistic media landscape, including helping to set up the Ghanaian Chronicle, as well as several community radio stations throughout this wonderful country. Today, ladies and gentlemen, UNESCO is closely associated with the National Media Commission, the Ghana Journalists Association, the Media Foundation for West Africa, and other allied institutions to enhance the gains of freedom of expression. We welcome Ghana's commitment to ensure the passage of a Right to Information Bill, which will further enhance the free flow of information, transparency, and good governance. 21 years ago, in 1997, UNESCO created the UNESCO Guillermo Cano World Press Freedom Prize to honor a person or organization that has made an outstanding contribution to the defense and/or promotion of press freedom, especially when this has been achieved in the face of danger. This prestigious prize carries the name of Guillermo Cano Izaza, a Colombian journalist who reported on and denounced the influence of drug trafficking organizations, and whose courage and commitment to freedom of expression gave rise to inspiration until today. He was murdered on the 17th of November 1986 in front of the offices of his newspaper. The organizers and executors of his killing wanted to silence him, but they couldn't succeed. Through this prize, Guillermo Cano's legacy lives on, to a great extent thanks to the efforts of Ana Maria Busquets, Guillermo Cano's widow, who created the Guillermo Cano Foundation, which has supported the prize since its creation. I also wish to express my sincere gratitude to the Helsingin Sanomat Foundation and the Namibian Media Trust for their invaluable support to the prize. Guillermo Cano's commitment to plurality and freedom of expression are underpinning principles of his vision that society should be ruled by the pen, not by the sword. These principles guide UNESCO's mission to strengthen independent, free, and pluralistic media, to bolster media professionalism, to ensure respect for fundamental freedoms, and to enhance the safety of journalists, and to end impunity. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, as we celebrate the 70th anniversary of the Universal Human Rights Declaration, I would like us to think of the 25 journalists who have lost their life in the exercise of their profession since the beginning of this year, only 4 months. During the last days alone, 11 journalists were killed in Afghanistan in heinous attacks, and I wish to express my sincere condolences to the families of the journalists and the people of Afghanistan. Let's pay tribute to those men and women who have paid the ultimate price for exercising their fundamental right to freedom of expression, which is an enabler of all other human rights. Ladies and gentlemen, an attack on a journalist is an attack on all of us and our fundamental rights. Tonight, we honor the courage and dedication of a person who has insistently defended freedom of expression and a free press. Mahmoud Abdel Shakur Abu Zaid Atalha, alias Shokan, is the 28th UNESCO Guillermo Cano World Press Freedom Prize laureate. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mahmoud Abu Zaid is an Egyptian national born in 1987 and a remarkable photojournalist whose camera lenses capture the threats of Egypt, everyday lives of its citizens, their emotions, and their quest to shape the future of their country. As a university student, he began discovering his enthusiasm for photography and would dedicate his savings to acquire technical equipment that would allow him to become a professional in the field. His keen eye for images with many layers of meaning for societal development and artistic expression brought him to work for several photo agencies as a freelancer. At the time of his detention, he was covering the sit-in on Cairo's Rabas Al-Dawaya Square on 14th August 2013. On that day, he was arrested without a warrant. Today, after nearly 5 years of continued deprivation of liberty, he faces the risk of a death penalty sentence. The United Nations Human Rights Council Working Group on Arbitrary Detention cites that his detention results from his exercise of the right to freedom of expression, as guaranteed by the Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Mahmoud Abu Zaid is a photojournalist who is devoted to his profession and to strengthening the documentary role of independent journalism. His case will not be forgotten. Unfortunately, Mahmoud Abu Zaid cannot be with us today. I would like to use this opportunity to call upon the Egyptian authorities to ensure the release of Mahmoud Abu Zaid, whose physical and psychological conditions are reported to have declined dramatically in prison. I would like to conclude with the words of Shaukan, and I quote, "Keep shouting. Journalism is not a crime." At this occasion, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, allow me to award Shaukan the UNESCO Guillermo Prize in absentia. I thank you very much.
Respectfully, ladies and gentlemen, shall we all rise as the presentation is done to Shokan in absentia.
I will place this certificate and an award of a token $25,000 in front of the photograph of Shaukan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And so Shokan in absentia becomes the recipient of this award. And of course, that's a photograph of the young journalist. "31 years old. Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you very much, our Deputy Director General of UNESCO, for that rendition. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Our next major speaker will be our very special guest of honor. But before he speaks, there's a woman of many parts who is here with us tonight. And when I say a woman of many parts, I truly mean a woman of many parts. She's an actress. She's married to a retired brigadier general in the Ghana Armed Forces. She is the mother of a captain in the Ghana Armed Forces. She's a teacher of theater, a deep patron and lover of Ghana, a traditional ruler, and also a politician. Now, that's a woman of many parts. She is the immediate past Deputy Minister of Tourism and Creative Arts. The reason why I've asked her to come up stage is because last year, at the AU conference in Addis Ababa, she did a rendition of a poem entitled, "The Africa I Want." Considering the fact that our very own Shokan we're celebrating today is in jail in an African country, battling for his life, sometimes we ask ourselves, what really is the Africa we want? I present to you Abla Jifa Gomashi.
Thank you very much. Love me now, for I may not be here forever. Show me love, that I may be nourished to live long. Turn, look, and see me, for I may not be around for long. Do you see me? Do you touch me? Do you feel me? Do you smell me? Can you love me as I am? Love me now, for I may not be here forever. Feed me now, for I may not be here forever. Give me your attention and care. Care for me as I have cared for you. Don't walk over me and spit on me. Choke me with filth. Disrespect me without paying attention to me. I feel. I hurt. I cry. I notice you. Do you notice me? Do you see my pain? Feed me now, for I may not be here forever. Love me now, for tomorrow I die. As you maltreat me, as you disrespect me, as you use me as your dumping site, as you accept everything but me, as you draw the last blood out of me, remember I have told you to love me now, for tomorrow I die. Love me, like me, love me. When you met me at your birth, you knew me as the richest, diverse, original, beautiful, dynamic, interesting. Then you watched as I was raped, degraded, abused, molested, partitioned. Then you watched as I was renamed dark, diseased, malnourished, depleted, destructive, uncertain, heathen, uncultured. Love me, like me, love me, for tomorrow I will not be here. Stop, think, see. I ask, why do you keep coming to me if I'm too dark for you, too old for you, too young for you, too filthy for you? Tell me, why do they still come? If it's not a game of the mind, why do you still eat from my pot and still look down on me? And you, why do you watch? Why do you join them to do this to me? Stop hurting me. Stop killing me. Think of what you're doing to me. See the effect of the actions on me. Just stop. Love me. For tomorrow, I will not be here. For tomorrow, I die. Love me now by telling me a story. Our children don't know me. Why do you refuse to teach our offspring that I am, I was, and will always be the cradle of civilization, the mother of Chaka Zulu, Jomo Kenyatta, Kwame Nkrumah, George Padmore, W.B. Du Bois, Martin Luther King, Dangote, Mo Ibrahim, Madiba, Winnie Mandela, Queen Amina of Zazao? Well, Mama Jiramado of Aplau. Tell them who I am, not who they say I am. Love me now, for I may not be here forever. Love me now, for tomorrow I die. Love me, feed me, protect me, write down who I am. Celebrate me, give me back my honor, my place of pride, my title, my space. I am your mother. I did my best for you. It is time you do your best for me. Love me now, for I may not be here tomorrow. Love me now, for I may not be here forever. Love me now, for tomorrow I die. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Abla Jimfa Gomashi. Actually, the Mama Jiramado of Aflao is a traditional name. Distinguished invited guests, there's a drum appellation that would accompany the arrival of the president. The reason is very simple. Communication has evolved over time. But back then, drums were used to signal messages, to tell the story, and to bring the news to us. Right after the drum presentation and appellation, the President of the Republic would address us. Let the drums begin. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, goes up stage now. What's up? Thank you.
Minister for Information, the Minister for Education, Deputy Minister for Information, the former Deputy Minister for Tourism and Culture, Deputy Director General of UNESCO, President of the ECOWAS Court of Justice, UN Resident Representative in Ghana, Ghana's Ambassador to UNESCO, Ambassador of the Republic of Colombia to Ghana, the Executive Chair, Namibia Media Trust, the Chair of the International Jury for the World Freedom Prize, President of the Ghana Journalists Association, the Executive Secretary of the National Media Commission, members and friends of the media, members of the Diplomatic Corps, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very grateful to the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, for the invitation to participate in this year's World Press Freedom Day, which is being held in our capital city of Accra for the first time, on the theme, keeping power in check, media, justice, and the rule of law. We are proud to host this year's event. And those of you who come from beyond our shores are welcome amongst the people who pride themselves on their sense of hospitality. I know you've already been here for a day or two, and I hope you're enjoying your stay amongst us. Akwaba, as you know by now, is our word of welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, on 7th January this year, we celebrated the silver jubilee of our nation's Fourth Republic. It has proved to be the most enduring and most successful of the four republics of our history. Its constitution has enabled us to establish our state on sound democratic principles, grounded on the separation of powers. Though the Constitution of the Fourth Republic guarantees freedom of expression, including freedom of the press and other media, as a fundamental human right, and makes elaborate provisions to protect the freedom and independence of the media, the existing laws, which were continued in force by the same Constitution, contained colonial laws in our statute books that were manifestly anti-libertarian and repressive of free speech. That is why, as Attorney General, under the government of the great Ghanaian statesman, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, the second President of the Fourth Republic, I led the process in Parliament for the repeal of the criminal libel law. The repeal, when it occurred on 27 July 2001, was a very happy day for me, representing one of the high points of my public career. The repeal has had a very positive impact on the development of the Ghanaian media, freeing it from unnecessary self-censorship and promoting a robust and critical media culture. In the process, it has contributed to the growth of a vibrant media that has won Ghana the reputation of having one of the most media-friendly and liberal climates on the continent. It has also contributed significantly to the deepening of democracy in our country, enhancing public accountability as a strategic goal of public policy. The parlous justification preferred for the retention of the criminal libel law has been that its repeal has made Ghanaian media practitioners reckless and unprofessional in their work, thereby at times damaging the good image and name of public figures and endangering society as a whole. Even as one of the public figures most constantly vilified in sections of the Ghanaian media, and who ironically was a principal actor in the repeal of the law, I continue to insist that its repeal was necessary in the public interest in our emerging democracy. I will say again that I much prefer the noisy, boisterous, sometimes scurrilous media of today to the monotonous, praise-singing, sycophantic one of yesteryear. The Ghanaian media has, in fact, enriched the nation's governance by its curiosity, investigative skills, and persistence. Today, the Ghanaian citizen is able to give boldly and freely his or her feedback on policies and programs of government. Civil society groups are able to interrogate fearlessly government actions and positions, compare them to global best practices, and offer views and critiques aimed at complementing the efforts of government. And the political opposition is able to raise dissent openly, canvass for alternative viewpoints, and by so doing, offer our citizens alternatives to consider on all key issues of our national discourse. No wonder Ghana is, according to Reporters Without Borders, the #1 country in Africa in the Global Press Freedom Index. Long may it remain so. Nonetheless, we recognize the need for training, critical engagement by society with our media, self-regulation, and insistence on media ethics and journalistic standards by media houses, practitioners, and their organizations as part of the process of building a culture of high standards and professionalism in the Ghanaian media. This has largely been accepted as the means of addressing the current shortcomings and ills of our media landscape. As we celebrate World Press Freedom, it is still disheartening to note that though proven to be a catalyst in spurring the advancement of societies in the 21st century, we still have many countries that frown on or even criminalize free speech. The fact that this year's award winner, Mahmoud Abu Zaid, also known as Shokan, is in jail for, as it were, taking photos, is a signal to us that our generation still has much ground to cover. I use this opportunity to call on all governments the world over to put an end to state-sponsored acts that seek to restrict the practice of journalism. When supported, the free press has the potential to quicken the development of societies. Indeed, a democracy has no place for a media that does not keep a government on its toes. Ladies and gentlemen, on a day like this, it is important to consider some of the emerging challenges to press freedom. Like many other good things, freedom of the press has its own associated risks and inherent challenges, especially in this age of social media. I will focus only on two of these challenges, as I know your deliberations in these 2 days will deal with a good number of them. First is the risk of deliberate misinformation campaigns by some elements in the democratic space. And second is the risk of inadvertent misinformation by media practitioners, often in their desire to be first with the news and thus get a punchy, juicy headline. As is unfolding before our very eyes on a daily basis, deliberate misinformation campaigns, which in themselves are not new in politics or war, have now gained added currency with the proliferation of media channels. This is not only the preserve of enemy states in times of war, but has also now become a vociferous tool of political actors who aim to win public relations battles by fabricating or twisting facts and churning them out either through traditional media or new media channels as news. This is a major threat to the integrity of the news world as we have known it. It is not something to be left only to regulators to deal with. It is something that the whole world of media practitioners must resolutely confront and assist the society to identify and eliminate. If not, it has a tendency to undermine the very profession they practice and may in the long term lead to significant weakening of the entire industry with its rippling, potentially catastrophic effects on the broader society. The second risk we have to guard against is that of inadvertent misinformation that is sometimes published by mainstream media, which also has the potential to lead all of us in a race to the bottom. This happens when there is a little twist of facts, often to get the best headline, or a publication of the unverified claim in the haste to be first in breaking the news. The worrying trend is that in many cases, Even after the public has been misinformed and the true facts are later made known, mainstream media often chickens out of an honest, open acknowledgement that we erred. The choice is often to sweep it under the carpet and move on to the next big story. To guard against this second risk, which increases as media channels increase, let me encourage media owners in particular to invest continuously in building the capacity of their staff. The media has immeasurable power to build up the confidence and values of our societies and institutions, and therefore ought to be assisted in being on top of its game at all times. I call on practitioners the world over also to take a second look at the power they wield and the responsibility they owe society, with a view to ensuring that they do not sacrifice integrity and the future of our societies for today's headline or breaking news. In Ghana, we're going further in our exercise to empower the citizen, media, and civil society. The much-awaited Right to Information Bill has now been laid before Parliament. We look forward to its swift passage when Parliament resumes and its full application so that all stakeholders can have access to information with which we can all play our roles in realizing our vision of building a progressive and prosperous Ghana, a Ghana beyond aid. That is our goal, to build a free, prosperous, independent country that will make its own unique contribution to the growth of world civilization. In conclusion, let me congratulate heartily Shokan on the award of the World Press Freedom Prize. He has not been forgotten. I encourage all participants in this two-day event to engage on the many various issues before you with the same candor and passion with which you do your work on a daily basis. And as you go about your deliberations, remember that the sanctity of the future of press freedom is very much in your hands. I assure you that the Ghanaian people will continue to defend the right to free expression to the very end because of their determination to build a free, open society with accountable governance. They have manifested in the Fourth Republic their deep attachment to the principles of democratic accountability, respect for individual liberties and human rights, and the rule of law. It is this attachment that has enabled us to continue to produce intrepid media practitioners such as Elizabeth Ohene, Tommy Thompson, Ibn Kwaku, Cabral Blay Amehe, Kofi Kumson, Kwaku Bako, Akufo-Addo, Yao Graham, Kwesi Pratt, Gina Blay, Gabby Ochredako, Egbert Fable Jr., Ken Cranche, Anas Arimiao Anas, Kwame Sefakai, Bernard Avle, and Manasseh Azuri Awuni. Who have demonstrated fearless commitment to press freedom, no matter the cost. Once again, let me thank UNESCO for honoring Accra with this event, and may God bless us all. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who may not know, our President has a history of having been in the trenches with journalists from the 70s all the way till today. And so I guess when he was talking about those who have helped to broaden the frontiers of freedom, he was talking about probably his own contributions as well. He mentioned quite a long list of names, And a little vanity here would make me say that for those of you who don't know, the Kwame Sefaka is me. Thank you. I thought you'd give me a bigger round of applause. How often do you get presidential acclaim on a night like this? Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, well, now that we have our very special guest of honor and his speech out of the way, one of the nicest, one of the best exponents of Ghanaian music, modern, trendy Ghanaian music, is a young lady called Ifia. Ifia and the Carpet Band will ensure that we're entertained. And then we'll try as much as possible to turn all the cameras off, because we'll enjoy dinner as well. Dinner is next. The Carpet Band and Ifia follow. Let's enjoy the rest of tonight. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.